With his self-proclaimed reputation as a global peacemaker at stake, U.S. President Donald Trump is making an end-of-year meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu a top priority, interrupting his Christmas break at Mar-a-Lago to sit down with the Israeli Prime Minister.
And here's a look at where things are standing on the implementation of Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza. Now, under the first phase of the ceasefire, committed to the unrestricted entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza, something it has failed to do. Well, Israel's refusal to allow aid and construction materials into the Strip has left hundreds of thousands of Palestinians struggling to survive, and they've been forced to endure floods and harsh winters, cold in makeshift tents. Ibrahim al-Khalili reports from one of Gaza's displacement camps.
For Palestinians who have already lost their homes, their sense of safety and their loved ones, this flood is not just an accident. It's another chapter of suffering added to the ongoing humanitarian crisis they face in the Gaza Strip, where survival has become a daily struggle for hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians.
I lost my house, I lost a son and a daughter. Praise be to God. I fled to this place. Does this mean the war is over? No, we are still suffering. We haven't slept for 2 days because of the heavy rain.
We are here inside one of the displacement camps east of Deir al-Balah in the south of the Gaza Strip, and as you can clearly see behind me, the camp is drowning due to the heavy rain, which has turned the entire area into muddy waterways, and families are left to struggle, and what was meant to be a temporary shelter for them now has turned into a flooded trap.
The tent has been flooded. I took my children out, but I couldn't even get a blanket, a mattress, or a bag of flour for them. I have nowhere to sleep with my children or keep them warm.
Here inside this damaged tent, families are watching their last belongings, the few things they managed to save from destruction, being washed away. We can clearly see here pillows, mattresses, and bed covers are soaked and sinking into the mud. With each rainstorm hitting harder than the last, displaced families in Gaza face a harsh reality where surviving the weather has become as urgent as surviving the war. Ibrahim al-Khalili, Al Jazeera, Deir al-Balah, Gaza, Palestine.
Human rights organizations say that Israel is being allowed to commit grave crimes without facing any consequences. They warn this impunity not only destroys Palestinian lives and rights, but it also threatens the international systems of laws that should hold all states to the same standards. Noor Auda explains.
Human rights organizations and Palestinians say Israel is committing genocide, carrying out land grabs and ethnic cleansing, and imposing apartheid with impunity, because powerful allies make sure of that, even if it unravels the international order. They point to the International Criminal Court, or ICC, as an example, saying the Trump administration is crippling the court with sanctions on judges and staff and the human rights organizations that cooperate with them, because the court is pursuing the Israeli Prime Minister and other officials for war crimes. U.S. protection against any form of accountability for Israel is seemingly boundless.
I do believe that the U.S. is totally complicit with whatever Israel is doing.
Unprecedented sanctions have been imposed on Francesca Albanese, an independent UN official charged with monitoring human rights in Palestine. The U.S. has also stepped up its supply of weapons to Israel, allowing it to continue to strike Lebanon and Syria at will, and cracking down on freedom of speech in universities and public spaces around the world to mute criticism of Israel. Then declaring the genocide in Gaza a victory and announcing a ceasefire.
Israel, with our help, has won all that they can by force of arms. You've won.
Welcome for the...
Germany lifted weapons sales restrictions and advanced the largest weapons deal in Israel's history, while cracking down on protests at home. The EU shelved discussions of sanctions, failing to respond to Israel's ongoing violations that in other circumstances can trigger sanctions and collective action by the bloc. Brussels focused instead on celebrating the ceasefire, that has failed to fully stop the death and devastation in Gaza, while land grabs and violence and attacks by settlers in the occupied West Bank increased at unprecedented rates. Palestinians say they pay the ultimate and immediate price for this dynamic that puts Israel above the reach of the law. And experts say this entrenched impunity is threatening the entire international legal system. Noor Audi, Al Jazeera.